are we in, Zach? Week
Week 10 college
9?
football. Week 10. There's literally you got 4 weeks in November. You got the 1 week in December, and then of
You know
conference.
what? I like to say week
Yep.
9 because that's NFL, and then we get a extra week out of it instead of saying week 10. Uh,
Yeah.
anyway, it's always good to meet up with you every week. And by the way, before we get going and talk about this huge Pac-10 game between Washington and Stanford, let me just throw something out. I've been winning, 35 years and counting. Wayne's been winning. We've been having a fantastic season and having the game of the year in college this weekend. So let me put this up. And if you can see this, it's free. All you got to do is email me at jbplays.lv6@gmail.com. So just give me an email and it's free, and I'll send you the game and the write up. And let's kick it off with this Washington game. The Washington, they bet,
Washington
what?
State.
Washington State, they were playing fantastic. And then what happened to them? They lost to California, and then they lost to Arizona last week.
Yeah, they lost to Arizona. I mean, that Khalif Tate, he's just been incredible. 870 something yards on the ground in 4 games as a
And then
quarterback.
in between, they beat Colorado, right?
Yes,
So
they killed
anyway,
them.
I mean, these teams are just I don't know, they're just basket cases. Stanford, they won 15-14 over Oregon State, but
Mhm.
that's more of that's horrible. I mean, that doesn't say much to them, but that puts them 5-1 in the Pac-12, and I believe Washington State is 4-2. They met last year at Stanford Stadium, and Washington State won that game in a blowout, 42-16. So I'm not sure if we're going to see a blowout, but being that they're playing up there in Pullman, I think that the Cougars grab a nice win at home. For Stanford, one huge note: they may or may not have running back Bryce Love in this one, uh, and they're not very good offensively. So I just don't think it's a good spot for Stanford, and I'm going to look to take Washington State in this game.
Well, one thing I do know about David Shaw is when he's without a key player, that's when he usually can make a better game plan. When they have their assets is when they don't shift from their usual play on the field. That Oregon State game last Thursday was definitely a squeaker, not one you want to see this time of year from a team of Stanford's capabilities, but it happened. From Washington State standpoint, back at what the coach did again a couple weeks ago. Actually, it was last week against Arizona when he pulled out the starter Luke Falk for the backup. The backup throws 500 and something yards. Now, what's going to happen this week when you go back to your senior quarterback? He said he just took him out because Falk wasn't seeing down the field. It wasn't seeing the open wide receivers. That may be, but I don't think you send that type of statement this time of year. In Washington State, it's not like they're going to go to the BCS or top Pac-12 bowl game or something like that. So I don't think you make that type of move with a senior that's been a 3-year starter and stuff like that, especially to the team. They look to that guy to lead this team. So it's going to be an interesting game. Um, can David Shaw get in their head a little bit defensively? I think they can. Even though their offense hasn't been up to par since that USC game, I still think you can side with Stanford just with the slight points there.
Well, I think Washington State pulled him after they were way down. I mean, you know what? Arizona scored 58 points. So, it was more of he should have pulled the defense, not the quarterback, So I don't think he's going to have any problems scoring points this week. I don't even know if that was why he pulled him. I just think that he was just ticked off, and you got to, you just start with the captain, and, but 58 points that they allowed to Arizona on the road. So, anyway, I'm going to stick with Washington State at home. I think they get the job done. And remember to give Zach a holler anytime you can. And then if you need that free game of the year, our college game of the year, at jbplayslv6@gmail.com. Just send me an email and I'll get it right out to you. Remember, it's a Saturday game. And Zach, why don't you let them know how to get a hold of you and close it up?
Yeah, I'm big on the social media aspect of things, so follow me on Twitter at Cimini. I'm always talking sports on there. One of my favorite things is talk about the late third flirt from the ATS standpoint. Basically, teams will come real close to within another, probably be covering by the end of the third. But when that happens, you better get on your live bet and flip to the other side because it's just a late third flirt. But follow me at Cimini on Twitter or website notjustagame.com.